What's up, everyone? It's KB, and you know I love movies. Welcome back to the conversation. It's been almost 2 weeks since I did my last one, but I'm back. Thank you for joining me on a Thursday night. A little bit different, but we definitely wanted to get this rescheduled guest in. A couple of things before we start. Yes, I'm rocking the Ghostbusters tee because I'm getting ready for Saturday night over on Tim Talks Talkies. You guys submitted your list, so finally we're going to reveal the top 25 of the 80s Community Challenge and give what you deem to be the 25 best movies of the 80s. We worked on the list, Tim and I, and we tallied all of your emails and videos and comments, and special shout out to all of you who decided to put comments in different people's videos, as well as emailing us and also doing a video of your own. You know, saturation is a beautiful thing sometimes, but if you're not busy, definitely join us on Saturday night. Come and hang out with us. There's going to be a whole group of people. You're going to have people from the Collectors Club. You're going to have people from the Rad Pack. You're going to have other special guests talking about Rad Pack. I see you there, Killa. I see you in the chat. We'll get to the chat and say hello to you in a few moments. So definitely wanted to bring that up before we get started. But without further ado, I'm going to bring in my guests. Like I said, this is the second time we're trying to do this, but I'm glad we're finally getting a chance to do it. And I know it's going to be a good one because we started like 20 minutes ago in the back room, just like shooting it and just going back and forth. And the dialogue was good, and we had a good back and forth. We might even pick up where we left off during this conversation. You know how we do. We just go where it takes us. So I'm going to borrow from the monkey here for an intro. He says, from Tim's Christmas dream to other many guest appearances, he wears his hats with skills. When he does a conversation, I'm sure his 5 answers will thrill. He's talking about my man Mark from Tales from the Shelf. What is going on, my man?
What's up, man? Happy to be here. I know we had to reschedule it a little bit. My work schedule is pretty crazy, so I feel like it was mostly my fault. But
Nah, no fault, no blame, man.
Yeah.
We're just gonna let it ride, and you know.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Same here. You're definitely one of the channels that I could see. I don't know. Have you ever thought about doing like video essays?
I did like one on. Well, actually, I have like 3 actually on my channel. My first video that I ever did was a video essay on Sleepwalkers.
Yeah.
From 1992, and then I did one on The People Under the Stairs.
That was a good one. I watched that one.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Those videos take a lot of work. So to kind of just have to be able to upload more frequently, I've been doing in between those, I like to do like little thought experiment videos, kind of where I kind of touch on like a topic or maybe like a trend that's been either in collecting movies or in the movie world at large, and kind of just talk about it. And it's usually stuff that I feel like has been kind of percolating in my brain, and I feel like I have an interesting sort of something to add to the conversation, if you will.
Definitely.
So those are the videos that I really like doing when I feel like I have something to say. You know what I mean?
I have to tell you, even before we get started, the one that I thought this is going to be so like offbeat ended up being one of my favorites, and that was how Fast X made you a Fast and Furious fan.
Oh,
bro,
dude.
you had so much fun making that video, man.
It was great. I came home from the theater and look, is it a great movie? No, but I thought it would be fun as like a goof to just like, oh, I've only seen Tokyo Drift. Let me just go see the 10th movie and like see how confused I will be. And part
you
of that
weren't.
I was confused, but I was able to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
But mostly I had just gotten Regal Unlimited. My closest theater is a Regal. It's the theater I've been going to since I was like really young. So I go to that Regal and I got the unlimited plan because I've been going to seeing a lot more movies this year. And I said, it's essentially they're all paid for because it's really just a matter of do I feel like driving to the theater or not?
Right.
You know, and that's the beauty of it. It's like $23 a month and unlimited movies. So I said, screw it, I'll just go see Fast X, you know, get my money's worth. And
right.
It was fun, man. It was a good time.
I went to see a screen of it, so I saw it early, and it was so hard to hold on to my thoughts until, you know, the embargo where you could talk about it came out.
Right.
And I've been through it for the whole ride. I mean, we were talking about the movies back here on the shelf. The first one, I can't even reach it, but I have the first one back there somewhere because that was a true crime drama talking about street racing and, you know, Grand Theft Auto and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is a good one. And it went south from there real fast.
I feel like pretty quickly too. Like Too Fast, Too Furious is a little bit of jumping the shark, isn't it?
It pretty much from there.
I have vague memories of that one. Because I feel like to say that I've seen a movie, I feel like I need to be able to recollect it from start to finish.
Right.
I've seen bits of the first one. I've seen bits of the second one, but not enough to say that I've seen them confidently.
And it's really sad, but the fifth one is probably the best, and they should have just killed the franchise after Paul Walker died, and they did the nice goodbye in 7, just kill it. But there's money to be made.
There's too much money. They make so much money. It's
so
insane.
Much money. There's people that like cars that will go to it just to see like 5 seconds of a DeLorean. Which the DeLorean in that Fast X movie was badass.
There's not a ton of car stuff anymore, though. So it's like I feel like you're even alienating your most loyal audience by kind of making it these like absurdist sort of action movies now. Like they're action movies now. I wouldn't say the first one is an action movie, would you?
No, it's more like a crime drama with some action in it.
Yeah,
some action scenes,
some intense moments, but like mostly it's about the characters, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
If you guys want more of this kind of thing, I'm going to send you right to his YouTube. It's also the same thing on Instagram, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, it should be exactly the same.
Yeah. So basically,
YouTube's got some spaces, but Instagram, it's all one.
Yeah. Actually, I took this from your YouTube. So if you do youtube.com/@Tales from the Shelf, it will come up. Check out his videos. Check out his thoughts. I would like to say that.
Thank you.
Let's see who's in the chat joining us, and then we will get started. Let's see. I'm going to scroll back up because people are saying hi and people are jumping in. So I thank you all for being here on a Thursday night. So we got my man Dell joining us. What's up, brother Dell? We got Johnny joining us. What's up, cool kids? We got my man Benicio. What's good? What's good? Thank you, sir. I know that's your favorite. Anyone who comes in and says, yeah, I don't know about Ghostbusters, just get ready for the rain of just like Johnny coming down on you.
Well, the first movie and even the second one are really good. But later on, when we might actually wind up talking about one of them later.
We call that foreshadowing.
Yes, so we're into that. Stay tuned.
We got my man Mizzy. What's good?
What's up,
Hope
everybody?
to see you soon. Fall is right around the corner. I hate to say it, but it's true.
I can't wait.
Weather's cooling off, so
excited.
Let's see. What is this? My hopes for a great stream. His taste in brie is outstanding. The monkey does his research. That is all I'm gonna say.
Brie Larson, she's not in the movie a lot, but no, she's an attractive woman.
Yes. Some might say something negative about her acting, but that's not what we're talking about.
In the Fast movies, I don't think acting is like a prerequisite.
No.
It's fine.
Even if you have good actors, it is not a prerequisite. No. As I said before, we got My Killer Podcast in the house. What's up, Mel? Sal. We got the toyologist in the house. What's up, Sal? Who else we got here? We got Spicy in the house. What's up, Spicy? 4K Action. People saying hi to each other. But don't want to miss anybody. Salute, my dude, Culture Trini. Salute, my man. He's probably wearing this exact same hat. That's how we get down. Nice. Let's see. We got Adrian James joining us. What's up? Hey there. We got Laren joining us. Hey, man.
Hey,
what's good? Thanks for joining us. That's right. My main man, Laren. Who else? Who else? Don't want to miss anybody. I know I saw Lance in here. There he is. What's up, KB? And everyone, what is a movie that you love? You just watch it again and again. That's how I felt about Fat Albert, seen it 100 times, can recite the whole movie. I think yours is Above Your Head, if I'm not wrong.
Well, this is the 2018 banner.
I would go 78 if I was you.
78, obviously. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But it's not, Halloween isn't a movie I watch a lot because I don't know if you feel this way, but when you have those special movies there are certain ones where you don't watch them a lot because you kind of like to try to preserve that experience and make it special. Maybe it's a me thing. I don't know.
No, I know what you mean.
Especially that movie. I don't like to watch it. I like to watch it in October and kind of leave it at that. I don't like to watch it just because it doesn't feel the same, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You're able to tap into sort of the outside elements where it's like, you know, it's got I like the weather to kind of match the movie. Not all of the time, but with certain movies. Like I only watch Christmas horror in the month of December. I really love Christmas horror movies, and I think I like them even more because I don't watch them a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like something I look forward to, right? So like I usually start to like Christmas shop in like November. And then I have some stuff. Yeah, and then December 1st, I watch A Christmas Horror Story and I wrap presents and I drink like a seasonal beer. And it's like a tradition that I've been doing for the past 4 years now.
Nice.
So it's not every movie. There's very few, but it's certain ones where I like to keep them seasonal, you know?
Like there's only two days a year that I'll watch Jaws.
Right.
July 3rd, July 4th.
Exactly. That's
Don't hit me
example.
on the 5th. Don't hit me on the 5th.
Yeah.
It's put away. It's put away. Now
Yeah.
It has a companion piece next to it.
Yeah.
2 steel books right next to each other. See you next year.
That's a great example because I don't know. There's just certain ones that hit in certain times of the year, and I like to stick by that. There's other movies to watch, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like I'll watch those in the other 11 months and keep Halloween for October.
I feel you. We got Cody in the house.
Yo, Cody.
Don't forget to roundhouse kick that like button, my man. Always.
Hell yeah.
Dell says you only make videos when you have something to say. Novel concept.
I don't know. I don't like to sort of do what I feel like everyone else is doing because there's other people who are doing it and doing it better than I could.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to keep things to just like if I'm very passionate about something, that's when I feel most inspired and motivated to make a video. I don't want to just make it because I'm trying to like hit a certain algorithm. You know, if like everyone's talking about this right now because this just came out, so I'll talk about that. Like, there might be a time where I do that, but it'll be because I'm also passionate about that topic.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I get it. I hear that.
Right now, YouTube's just a fun thing for me to do. I'm not monetized, nothing like that. So it's all just for fun, and I'm having a blast with it.
I hear you.
So,
all right. This must be where we started talking about Fast X. I'll say it again. I watch the Fast movies to see how stupid they can get. Fast X did not disappoint. I still put Fast 9 in the top of the Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
you put a super in space.
I said in that video, I was like, I might watch all of these movies. I haven't yet, but I do think I will eventually. It's just hard to find the time, especially when there's so many of them.
Mm-hmm. I have a perfect scenario.
Okay.
So, you know, sometimes you have a buddy brings over a 6-pack of something, somebody cracks it open, and nobody likes it. And it just ends up staying in your fridge.
Yes.
You're going to collect enough of those. Like I have a beer fridge outside. And you're going to collect enough of those that one weekend you're going to have off some miraculous weekend. And you're going to say, you know what? I'm going to watch those Fast and Furious movies. And I'm going to drink these stinky beers. And just a combination of the stinky beers.
Yeah.
And these stinky ass movies will be such a fun combination. You'll have a great time with it.
You're killing 2 birds with 1 stone there.
Hell yeah. Getting rid of, I mean, it's going to save your toilet too. Just think of all the possibilities.
Yes. Dude, someone came to my house for like a Christmas party a couple years ago and they brought, I think the brand is Dogfish Head.
Yes.
They make like IPAs. And
IPAs. Yeah.
And it was like there was a bunch of them in a cooler, and I just grabbed one out. I didn't read the label. That was my mistake, because I just assumed it was like the base brand or whatever. Crack it open. I take a sip. I'm like, oh my god, what is that? And I read it. It says jalapeno. It was a jalapeno flavored beer. I was like, what? Now, if I had been expecting it, or if I liked jalapenos, different story. But let me tell you, when you're not expecting it and you just take a big gulp of a jalapeno flavored beer, it is like a shock to the system, dude.
Oh my god!
So I just casually sat that one on the counter and kind of walked away.
It's bad enough that some of those IPAs is just like straight coriander, and it's like too much. Ugh.
I was like, who brought these?
And everybody was quiet.
Well, you can have them.
I know. It's all you. It's all on you. We got Hall & Oates. Yeah. Mizzy said it. F9 is bad. Let's catch up.
I would like to watch them all and like rank them one day and kind of see where they all shake out.
Yeah.
One of these days.
Gearhead's left behind by the Fast franchise a long time ago. It's true. And then they started turning to the people who like, I don't want to call them meatheads, but for lack of a better term, your Vin Diesels, your Rocks, and they just put them all in the same movie.
They started adding like more buff dudes to the franchise, like Jason Statham and the Rock stuff. And
no hate, because I watch their movies too. Yeah, perfectly dumb.
Well, I feel like they've leaned into what they are now. They're not trying to act like they're not dumb.
Oh,
which I'll give them credit for that.
It's just, let's see how far we could take it. What's the next crazy thing we could do? There's a man talking about Saturday night. Tim Talks Talkies in the house watching Bloodsport.
Nice.
Is it the German release? Because I need to get my hands on a copy of that. There you go. I only watched Halloween 78 on Halloween night, and only on Halloween night. I hear you, Laren.
It's hard not to, man. And it just doesn't feel right any other night, because it's, I don't know. It's just the perfect. It's. We'll get into it. We'll talk Halloween later.
Yeah, I mean, I finally got the other ones from Shout Factory that they came out with, because when it first came out, I think I just got one. Yeah, and then I said, I know I'm going to definitely get 2 and 3 and go from there. Not getting the one with Busta Rhymes. So
yeah, we'll talk.
I'm going to get H2O when it comes out on Steelbook.
On those,
we all do.
Yeah.
I flat out refused. Watched Tokyo Drift for at least 10 years, so it wasn't as bad as I hoped. No, that was like almost a departure, because that's the one without Diesel and everything.
That is it's such a strange franchise, man. I don't want to stay out too much on Fast.
Yeah, I know. It was like you could just stay there.
For the third one, it was like, all right, now we're doing the spinoff, and it was like, it seems odd. We're only 2 movies in.
Yeah.
And it's like, is this all they're going to be now? Are they all going to be spin-offs? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention too much back then to the news, so
it's just funny.
It was
so
weird.
Funny. Are you excited about the movie collection battles? I know you are, Emmett. It's going to be nice to see it back again. I'm eager to see how D-Ray changes it around. My only concern, I hope he kind of solves, which is making it into a popularity contest. And I like the wrestling angle of it, even though it's been years since I watched WWF. That's how long. And just want to see where it goes. So I'm excited for that. Definitely. Let's see. I'm going to skip some of these just to get to it. We got Mama Blu-ray in the house.
Mama Blu-ray. How you
What's
doing?
Up, Bonnie? Yeah. Ghostbusters Afterlife. Love it. We get to watch it presents Ant-Man Destroying 3 proton packs. That is a fun one, but not all of them are fun. That's how I'll say it. All beer is seasonal. I like that.
That is a good way to approach it. I agree.
I like that. Let's see. Once again, thank you everyone for dropping in. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, great group of people so far.
Yes, sir.
From what I've seen.
All right. So you know how we do this. We start off with a non-movie question, and we get into the good stuff. We stay there pretty much all the time, because that's how we do. And then we end, as we always do, with the 5 takes. So we're going to start it off with something any person who's owned a collection of black T-shirts can understand, and probably even have a place in time. But do you remember the first time you heard Metallica?
Man, I don't. The first time it would have been probably in like, well, the first time I heard it, I don't know. I probably heard it and didn't know what I was listening to when I was very young.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time I like actually sought out and like listened to Metallica would have been when I was in high school between 2009 and 2012, which were the days of like pirating a lot of music, iPods and stuff, LimeWire,
Napster.
illegally downloading music. So I don't do that anymore. I got Spotify, so don't come for me. I feel like we all did our share of illegally downloading music.
Of course.
But yeah, I got really big into them a while back. Kind of like really discovered like their discography back then, because it was like I could download, whole albums, and so I didn't have that kind of freedom before to kind of really put whatever music I wanted to on my iPod, and there really wasn't much of a limit. You could run out of space, but you could have thousands of songs. So
right, delete something, some album cuts.
Yeah,
keep the hits.
I mean, I'm going to be 30 in March, so I'm sort of old enough to have seen. I would have been really young, but I was old enough to see like tapes and then CDs. I used to have to carry like a CD binder with me to school.
On the visor.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't have to carry it like in my backpack though, and then like on the school bus, you change your CDs out and stuff. And then I'm also, then you got iPods came along, and now it's all streaming. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I got really big into Metallica. Still into them, but I've branched out a lot more. I've listened to a lot of. I like to listen to a wide array of music. I know a lot of people say that, but I really do. I feel like it's the best way. Because I get bored. I try to spice it up, and then and listen to a lot of different things. So
I learned that from my dad. I mean,
yeah.
My parents are like Dell. My parents are from the Caribbean, so they have their own genre of music, but they're also inspired by, everything from British music and prog rock and all that stuff to American music and, rock and roll. And by the time I came around, it was R&B and soul and 70s, 80s pop, all that stuff. And then when rap music came along, it wasn't enough just what was playing for me, but it was also, where'd they get that song from? Oh, The Police. Who's Stuart Copeland? Oh, he's the guy on the drums. And
rabbit holes right from there.
Floodgate.
Yeah.
Floodgate. So
no, same way.
Jazz. Well, all different types of music. So like getting in and listening to Turnover from the last time to now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That
probably
that was
not
cool
something
too.
You would normally listen to, right?
No.
Yeah.
But I dig it. That's why I put humming on the IG story.
Dude, when you did that and I reshared it, I was like, hang on. I'm like, did I put this song here? And I was confused by it because I saw the title. And then I was like, oh, I told him, because this has been in the making for a while, so long that I forgot that I told you that I liked them. So that was a cool surprise, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely younger than Metallica because they were playing in the early 80s.
Yeah, my mom introduced me to a lot of things.
That's awesome.
That other kids my age weren't really listening to. So, like in movies as well, that's how I discovered a lot of the movies and books that I like. It was all shown to me by my mom and my stepdad. And like my mom, in the house when we were young, we had this big bookshelf in the living room. And it was all Stephen King. My mom loved Stephen King and Anne Rice and John Grisham and Dean Koontz and all of them. And the spines would always intrigue me. And I read a lot when I was young. I don't read as much anymore because my attentions are divided with work and YouTube. And I try to watch as many movies. Social media for sure. I'm not going to act like I don't spend a lot of time on like YouTube and stuff like that. But those books, I would always be so intrigued by those spines. With those books, and I would always grab them off the shelf, and that's how I got into reading. I started reading when I was like really young.
Yeah, I tell people that dust covers on books is today's slips.
Yes, absolutely. And I have some old books that used to belong to my mom that we don't have the dust covers anymore. They got lost in moves and stuff, and I wish I had them. It's the same as wanting it for your slipcover. It's like it feels naked without it. And the art is great. Tape. Yeah. Especially those old Stephen Kings, like with the old artwork. It's like actually painted and real illustrations and stuff.
Della's here talking to my heart. And to
Yeah.
Sandman makes him think of Mariano Rivera, the closer for the Yankees, which
Is that his entry, his walk-on music? Or
yeah,
something?
you hear that, game over. He'll come in 6 innings, in and out, 6 strikeouts, maybe a ground out here and there. That's it.
Awesome.
That's it. I met him a couple of years
you?
ago when I was working for Apple. He came into when I was working in the store, and he was there, and I ended up helping training him on an iPad. That was pretty cool.
Wow, that must have been kind of surreal.
Oh, I just like spilled my guts. I told him like, yeah, big fan, blah blah blah.
Full disclosure, I'm a big fan.
Yeah,
no, that's super cool, man.
Especially being in the Midwest, being a Yankees fan. Yeah. He's like, oh, I feel like I'm at home. I'm like, right. Oh, okay. What's up, Jay Rick? My man Jordo in the house. We're gonna get him back on here soon. I started a new series called So I Finally Watched That Movie. I put in 1 episode already with Movies with Ryan. We talked about Sucker Punch. And if he is watching or watching on the replay, I want to let him know I just got this in today. I picked up the only Blu-ray copy I could find that had both the original and the extended cut. So I'm going to be able to watch the extended cut that we talked about. Going to have another episode too, I think, in honor of the passing of Mr. Freakin. Me and Jordo are going to talk about Cruising.
Okay, cool.
So
that's
should
on
be
my
fun.
list as well. I need to see that. I think I've seen Exorcist, I've seen Sorcerer, and I've seen French Connection.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about before. Just the French Connection and everything like that. So
and the censorship and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I need to see more Friedkin films though.
Yeah, definitely. He left behind a great legacy, a great filmography.
Absolutely. I watched an interview he did with Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah.
The director of Drive. It's like an hour-long interview, and it's really great. It's been around. It's been circulating for a while. People have probably seen it already, but it's especially more relevant now, I think, with him having passed.
Yeah.
Just how
he's a straight shooter too.
Dude, he will not bullshit you for a second.
Not at all.
And it's so funny to watch, and it's refreshing too, because it's like he comes from a different era, and I feel like a lot of people aren't like that anymore.
Yeah, and he comes from an era that you would expect him to be stoic and conservatives in his views, and a very famous quote of his is like, "Who told you I wasn't queer?" I was like, "What?" He'll be missed.
No, he was great.
Yeah, that was good too. What's up, Eddie?
Hey,
what's going on, my man? Let's see. All right, talking about the movie collection battles. Cruising, real so hard, baffling movie, but awesome nonetheless. Yeah, just know all movies aren't supposed to be linear. It's not your typical 3-act. So just go from there.
No, I think that's the next one I'm going to watch. I'll see if the Arrow sale is going on right now.
Yeah.
So I might try to pick up that Cruising.
I think it's $20 right now.
Okay.
So I have it on hold at my Barnes & Noble, so I have to go pick it up. Yeah, and the movie theater where we went to Panic Fest is showing Sorcerer this month. I hope I didn't miss it yet, because I would love to go back up there and check that out on a big screen.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What that movie is insane. The tension that they're able to build it with the Sorcerer is insane. It's so good. I was on like the edge of my seat the whole time.
Mm-hmm. We got Your Cult Boyfriend in the house. I think To Live and Die in LA was his best. We were also talking about that beforehand.
Yeah, you were showing me your haul there.
Yeah, so it was necessary to throw that in player the other night and just check it out. Nice transfer. Nice transfer, but it's definitely I think it's one of his better movies that nobody talks about. They talk about the biggies, The Exorcist, The French Connection.
Yeah.
But he has a lot of Bug. That's one that a lot of people are talking about now with the new version coming out. So
yeah, which studio? Who's putting that out? I think like MVD or something.
I want to say that. If anybody knows, throw it up in the chat.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know Ken from Mid Level Media was excited for that. He's a big William Friedkin. He loves Exorcist. That's like his favorite horror film. Yeah, so he's all over anything Friedkin. I think he was just watching Cruising too.
Yeah, Kino's putting out 4K.
Oh, really?
Oh no, that one says release canceled. My bad.
Oh,
Let's
okay,
see.
right. So yeah, so it was gonna be with one studio. Ken covered this in one of his physical media reports.
Yeah.
So I can't remember, but yeah, it was gonna be one studio, and then I think they got canceled it and moved it to a different one.
Okay, so Orbit has it for $30 with the slip. But what studio is that? If somebody knows, say me the thing. It looks like Imprint.
Oh, that could be it. That sounds right.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
sounds right.
looks like Imprint.
Yeah.
But if you caught it, great. Otherwise, take your chances when it comes out. So, here's a scenario question for you.
Okay.
So, I think I know the answer to this, but if your DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4Ks got raptured, what part of your collection do you lean on for comfort?
Got raptured?
Yeah, it just got taken away. Can't get it back.
What part of my collection?
Mm-hmm. In other words, what are the other things that you collect that you would like feel like, oh, okay, I'm missing those things, but I still have this.
But at least I still have this. Okay, sorry. Just wanted to make sure I understand the question.
Oh, you're good.
That's a toughie because I do collect a variety of things. Probably my books. You can't see them, but I have like 3 bookshelves over here that are all filled. And what's really cool about it is I have a lot of my books still from like childhood and stuff that I've got from like book fairs and things that I don't have plans to have kids right now, but if I ever did, it would be really cool to be able to give them to them.
Yeah.
And a lot of people probably still have their books from when they were a kid, but we moved around a lot, and there was a period of time where I didn't know where they were. They were in a storage unit somewhere, and it was thought that they could have been like damaged by like mold or water or something, and could have been thrown out. Didn't get to find them until like years later, and then finally I found this big box. It was like all filled with all my childhood books that I thought were gone, and it was a really cool experience to just find them all again, and it made me value them even more.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a lot of those over there. I have a ton of Stephen King, as I was saying earlier. I'm disappointed with myself because I don't read as much as I should. It's just so hard to find the time. And a lot of the books that I want to read are like 500 pages or more, because Stephen King just doesn't know when to quit.
Right.
And
he doesn't know how to finish a book. That's his problem.
Yeah, that too. And it can just be overwhelming to like start up this big, tome. But I'm trying to get to a point where I can maybe read for like 30 minutes to an hour every night before bed or something. Just get back into it. I blame my phone. I blame social media because I spend so much time watching YouTube videos and stuff when I should be spending that time reading. So it's hard to strike a healthy balance.
Yeah.
Definitely my books.
Do you still have a VHS collection?
I do. I have a whole bunch right here underneath my desk.
That's where I thought you were going.
Yeah,
VHS.
I've slimmed it down a bit because space is an issue, but I'm pretty selective with VHS.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm out at a Goodwill and I find like, I don't know, Die Hard or something, I already have the Blu-ray. That's not a movie I need on VHS. Typically,
True Lies.
Sure, maybe True Lies. I like horror movies on VHS.
Yeah,
I think they really kind of go together, like peanut butter and jelly. So
it's a vintage thing too, because you don't think of like high quality aspect when you think of a horror movie, especially if you're talking 70s, 80s stuff. You're thinking grainy. You're thinking like
you think of like Fright Night. Yeah. Which is what the shirt that I'm wearing.
Although that is a badass 4K.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I have that too. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of these that I have on VHS, I also own on 4K Blu-ray. And they're just movies that I really love. So
yeah. Good news for anyone who didn't catch that that 4K Steelbook they're reissuing it. You're gonna pay more than we did, but
Nice. I have that over there. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a day one for me.
Yeah, for sure. That thing was beautiful. So awesome.
Great features, like a whole extra disc of special featers.
The whole documentary. I mean, that's that was probably my favorite release of last year. That was last year, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That
it was right around October. That and Lost Boys.
Yeah, and Poltergeist.
Yeah, that's right. Those two came out at the same time.
Yeah, that was a big month. Laren
wants to know if you have any book recommendations for him.
Ooh, That's tough because, like I said, I haven't been reading as much. But obviously, everybody likes Stephen King. He sort of goes without saying.
Yeah.
There is this one book that I really like. It might be considered more like YA now because I kind of grew up with it, but it is probably like YA, like young adult. But it's this book called Thirsty, and it's about this teenager who's turning into a vampire. But unlike a lot of YA, it's like very dark, and it's kind of a downer. But I read it a ton as a kid, and it was really sort of influential in sort of how I approached like media and stuff. Like, it's not. It's a really interesting book. It's not very long. It's maybe like 300, 400 pages. But I really like that book. I find myself reading it like once a year. It's called Thirsty by M.T. Anderson. It's really good. Yeah, I really like it. I don't want to spoil it in case anybody actually does go out and read it. But it's dark, and it's something that it made an impact on me. So
I like vampire stories.
It's a really good vampire story.
There's some romanticism to it.
Yes,
and we'll come back to that in a minute. Let's catch up on these.
It's sort of the juxtaposition of like his adolescence too. It's possibly like a metaphor for him like getting older and like being hormonal and stuff. And they touch on that. It's a really great book. I would recommend people read it.
Sounds it reminds me of a movie that Dell had me do last October for spooky season, but that's coming back. Just to let people know, I'm going to do another season of movies that creep us out. Not necessarily horror, but that could be anything. Couple of comments here. Spicy says audiobooks is where it's at. Can listen in the car.
Yeah.
Holland says he can't do it. He tunes out to fall asleep. There's certain people I can't do an audiobook for. So if you have a very soothing voice, I can't do it. So like the guy who wrote Outliers. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think so.
Yeah, he has a very soothing voice. Can't do that. But like,
yeah,
if you give me like Ready Player One, I read that twice before it even got announced as a movie because they have Mr. Will Wheaton doing the reading.
Oh, that's so appropriate.
I dig that.
That's so appropriate.
Dave Grohl's autobiography called Storyteller. I bought the book, read it on vacation, and then I went back and listened to the audiobook just to listen to it in his voice. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I have a buddy who likes to read as well, but he does almost strictly audiobooks, and he listens to them like while he's at work and stuff. And I've been wanting to get into them because I think it would be the best way for me to actually read some of these books. But there's something about it that's sort of like goes against, I like the tactile feeling of holding a book and turning the pages. There's something to that where I don't know if I'd want to give up that experience for something else. So
yeah. Dell says Stephen King books so long because he no longer has to listen to editors. Same thing for film and Tarantino. Same thing to a certain extent for Christopher Nolan too.
Yeah,
he's not going to make another 94-minute movie. Forget about that.
I kind of agree with what Dell's saying there. It definitely makes sense. He's kind of like suffering from success. Sorry.
Yeah. The Monkey wants big rebooted with Helen Mirren and Jenna Ortega. That's interesting.
I don't know how well that would work. I feel like Helen Mirren is pretty old.
Yeah, she makes her appearance in those Fast movies, so
as she does, which was very jarring, I will say.
It wasn't the first time.
Yeah,
she was in the early ones.
I figured that by the context, but it was very surprising all the same.
Yeah, Johnny's right, but sometimes you need to shake things up. One more, and then we'll get back to the questions. Drodo says, highly recommend Rick Rubin's book on creativity. Very good. Shout out Jill Six. I know she was reading it. Everyone should read it if they're creative or not. If you got a YouTube channel, you're creative. That's all I got to say. The audiobook is great too because he narrates it. In this case, I would lean more towards the actual book because he has some gems that you really have to stop and reread again.
Yeah.
And if you're like just going through the audiobook, it's kind of like when you have a conversation with somebody interesting, you're like, oh man, that was deep. That was insightful. And then like 20 minutes later, you're like, what did he say?
Yeah.
But
That's
if
the
it's
thing
in
too,
front
where
of you, you could come back to it, reread it again.
yeah, with an audiobook you could miss stuff, like you might have to rewind it. It seems like it would be a whole thing.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely interested in that. Rick Rubin, he's the man.
Yeah.
I love that clip of him, that famous clip where him and Jay-Z are talking about the intro to 99 Problems, and he kind of just like pulled it out of his ass, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. One take home.
Yeah, and then like they say it, and then they like cut to the video in the clip I was watching, and I was like, wow, just like that. Like,
and then you have Adam from Beastie Boys just standing there like in amazement.
Right? He's just like blown away.
That's actually from a documentary called Fade to Black. They made a documentary when the Black album was supposed to be his last album. And pretty much all that studio stuff is him going from producer to producer, basically doing it. That's how a lot of people first heard of Kanye. Pharrell from the Neptunes. So it's good. I still got my DVD somewhere over there.
I love a documentary. So
me too. A good one with an interesting topic. Good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Going back to the YA, because you leaned on something there for a minute that I wanted to ask about. I was surprised to find out you're a big romance fan.
Yeah. I mean, like with my music taste, I like to watch all kinds of different stuff. And the types of movies that I really find myself thinking about often and coming back to are the ones that I feel differently having left them than I did when I first sat down to watch them. And some romance films, they can, and the ones that I like are the ones that end without a happy ending. I think that's a theme for me with a lot of things that I like. But to go against the grain and not have them like end up together, you know, and like have it be like a tragic thing, like Past Lives from this year.
I still didn't see that. It's coming out soon. I'm just gonna blind buy it.
Yes, do it.
It looks good.
It's my favorite film of the year so far.
Wow, that high.
Yeah, it's really good. But it left me like a blubbering mess in the theater, dude. I'm not ashamed to say it. Like
I hear you.
I was crying, dude. And like I love movies like that because I don't go through a lot of like, you know, my day to day like crying. You know, I don't think many people do. If you do, that sucks. But it's like nice to go to that place emotionally, and movies are great for doing that. You know, movies like Her with Joaquin Phoenix, Brokeback Mountain, is really emotional at the end.
It is.
And it's a shame too because growing up, like, that movie was like sort of touted as being like, you know, this like, it just had a negative thing around it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, and people like make fun of it and stuff, and
homophobia. Call it what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. And it's like, and I never subscribed to that, but I never watched it for the longest time because I guess on some level I just assumed it wouldn't be for me. But at the end of the day, it's just like two human, you know, it's just two humans, like, and they're capable of emotions just like you and I. And that movie left me, severely impacted. And those are the types of movies I like.
Yeah. So,
be it horror or romance, anything on any end of the spectrum, as long as you can really hit me on that kind of visceral level.
Yeah.
I really like stuff like that.
I hear you, man. I'm with that.
You know?
We got Kenny Levels in the house.
What's up, Ken? Thanks for dropping by.
Mel says Blubbering Mess sounds like a Bobby Blue movie. Shout out Bobby Blue.
Oh man,
he loves his emotional movies, man. Don't get him talking about something like Peanut Butter Falcon. He will tell you how he sat there through the credits, couldn't move, just like ready to break down and whatnot.
That's what I love about movies, man. Like that, the human experience, you know, and especially seeing Past Lives in a theater. I was there in the theater, and it might have been like me and like 3 other ladies. I couldn't really tell because it was dark and, you know, I wasn't really looking, but it wasn't a lot of us. And I'm up in the very back where I always sit, in the very back to the far left, just like, you know, crying. And then I'm like looking around. I'm like, I wonder if they're crying too. They probably are. And it's like you're just having that sort of shared experience, you know?
Yeah.
You're like, you get in your car and you drive somewhere and you experience a film and you have something to think about on the drive home. I think it's a nice thing.
Talking about movies that wreck you, Cult Boyfriend brought up one of my 2. This is one. In the Mood for Love.
Yes, I just watched this.
Wrecked me.
I got it from the Criterion Collection sale going on. Yeah, really good. I really enjoyed it. However, I was very tired when I watched it,
Mm-hmm.
so I would like to revisit it again soon from
Yeah.
a fresh perspective.
That's one for me. This is another one.
That's another one I
This
just
wrecks
watched.
me every time. My God.
I did I have a small series. There's only 3 episodes, but I have a Sell It or Shelve It series, where I watch movies that I already own, and for the first time, I watch them, and I determine whether or not I'm going to keep them or get rid of them. And Eternal Sunshine was one that I watched for the first time, and really, it just blew me away, because that's the type of movie where it's kind of in the zeitgeist. You know, it's like people talk about it. We've all seen clips from it. We've seen images from it. So in some level, even though you haven't seen it, it's kind of made its impact on you. And so based on that, you kind of maybe have preconceived ideas about it before you sit down and watch it, which is why if you're watching a movie like that that's been out for so long and you're watching it in 2023, you might have like just, you know, a preconceived notion about it versus seeing it when it first came out and having it be like this raw, organic experience where you don't have any outside influence. So it was interesting. I was trying to separate myself from that when I watched it. And it was so ahead of its time and just really good and conceptually really interesting how like they're in his subconscious, and he's talking to her, but it's really just him. It makes you think a lot. I already want to see it again. It was very good.
And
obviously.
if you ever been through a relationship where you're like, it would hurt less if I just ever forgot that you were in my life, dude. Oh,
it was great. We all felt that, and it hits on a level like that, like I was saying, where it's kind of this shared universal experience that everybody can relate to.
For real.
Yeah.
John Doe Juggalo in the house. What's up,
What's
my
up,
man?
John?
We had some comments before. Jordo, you're killing me right now, dude. I love when horror can get me to that emotional place. The two ideas couldn't be more different. But you know what? Those emotions come from the same place.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah, it's like two opposite ends of the spectrum, kind of.
Yeah. Ken said earlier that he'd never seen Brokeback for the same reasons, but he'll be buying the 4K and watching it when it hits. Yeah, it's a good movie, man.
It's a great film, man. It really is. And it's just a shame that it kind of had this kind of, and there's probably people who didn't subscribe to that, but for lack of a better word, it, like I was saying with Eternal Sunshine, these things kind of seep into the zeitgeist, and you kind of have ideas about them, even though you haven't seen them.
That's true.
So yeah, no, I watched Brokeback and was just blown away by it. Really great movie.
Ooh, good one, Monkey. Nights and Rodance.
I have not seen that one.
Yeah. Oof. I don't know why
is that like a Nicholas Sparks thing?
It has that vibe. I wouldn't be surprised to know that it is.
I can't remember. I'm not opposed to that. I enjoy The Notebook quite a bit.
Yeah, you and I both. You are right. It is Nicholas Sparks.
Okay. Yeah, I remember hearing about that when it came out, I think.
If you could hear my dog barking in the background.
I was worried about the same thing, KB, because I'm in the basement and I'm worried about dogs and people barking above me. So
yeah, same.
Don't worry. Yeah, we're on the same page. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Eternal Sunshine rules.
Yeah, no, I was so late to Eternal Sunshine. It's one of those where I just was like, why didn't I watch this sooner?
This is the one that wrecked me here. Jordo says, went through a breakup recently, so despite my need to rewatch In the Mood for Love, it ain't time for me to rewatch it. No, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it, man.
Give yourself some time.
Yeah,
give yourself some let alone.
Watch something else.
Watch a teenage sex comedy from the 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't watch that.
Watch
don't watch
American.
Don't watch this either. This is no good for you right now. Ugh. Sorry to hear that, bro.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it later, but two movie Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Somebody just said that. Who just talked about that movie? Here it is.
Yes.
Woo.
That fits the bill perfectly. Great movie. And
that didn't wreck me, but that is a great movie.
Right at the end is what got me.
So
I don't
good.
want to spoil it, but right at the
So
end of that.
good.
And then
Mhm.
the Before trilogy, specifically the first one, Before Sunrise.
My man,
That
we're here. We're here, bro.
dude,
We are so here.
such a great experience. I didn't know anything about the movie other than that it was very good. I knew it was a trilogy though, which I
Mhm.
almost wish I didn't, because the way that first movie ends,
You could have just stopped right there,
it's
right?
sort of ambiguous and it leaves you on a note of, well, like, all right, spoilers,
Did they
mild
sleep
spoilers.
together?
You wonder if they're ever going to see each other again.
Mm-hmm.
And just that lingering question is like, man, I don't know. It just hit me like a punch to the gut.
It should have just stayed right there and just let you live on, so you could have those.
Yeah.
You know, we have those eternal movie questions like, did
Yeah.
they ever get back together?
Or
Did they ever
the
see
top
each
at the
other
end
again?
of Inception. Like, is it?
Yeah. Did it
You know,
ever
stuff
stop
like that.
spinning? Yeah.
Now, granted, I love the next two movies, but I would have been cool
It's
if
not
they
the
just.
same.
It's not the same.
It's
None
not
of
the
them hit me
same.
the way that first one did.
Since we're on a topic like this, give me an underrated actor and movie that needs more love.
Underrated actor and an underrated movie?
Mm-hmm.
That's tough to think off the top. You're catching me.
Or choose one.
Okay, well, I could probably do. All right, so let's say underrated movie. To tie it back to, I don't know that underrated would fit it, but Sorcerer is a movie that not a lot of people have seen. I feel like, at least like in the public, like general audiences, the real
Mhm.
film cinephiles have seen Sorcerer. And in that interview that I was watching, where he talks about it with Nicholas Winding Refn, they talk about how it was a bomb and it failed at the box office and people didn't like it, and which is baffling to me. So I think there is that element to it, even to this day, where he gets so overshadowed by The Exorcist, and people think of that, which is so bizarre because it's his only horror movie that he's done, maybe with the exception of Bug, I think.
Bug is not even a horror movie.
Is it not?
Honestly, no, it's not. It's more of a
Okay.
thriller.
Right. So it's like he just dabbled in horror one time, and it became his most famous film. And
Instant
think
classic.
people
Yeah.
should watch more of his movies, which is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
But Sorcerer is just like a masterclass in tension.
Yeah.
It's very good. Probably not a great answer for underrated. I would have to think about that a little bit more.
Okay. In the meanwhile, we have James on 20th and 21st
What's
movies. Needs to see Sorcerer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great movie, man. Everyone needs to see it.
It's the silver lining in someone passing, but especially us as physical media collectors and, cinephiles, if you want to go that far,
Yeah.
that we will go and watch his filmography now.
Yeah.
He has those hidden gems that people probably didn't know until they saw it on Letterboxd or IMDb or whatever the case may be, and were like, oh, let me go out and cop that just to watch that too. Or, you might not have gotten in on that crazy mania of getting the French Connection Blu-ray when everybody was buying it because, of the editing or whatever, but you may do it now that it's back in stores and you could get it off Amazon and it's not going to cost you $30 for something that was $10 2 months ago.
Right.
So the good thing is, I think people like us will start to see it now. So that is a good thing. Yeah,
it's a shame kind of that people will start to watch things after people die. Like, and how death can sort of impact that. But I do, as long as people are watching the movies at the end of the day, I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it makes me wish I had watched more and appreciated him more while he was around. It's just hard, man. I mean, there's so many movies out there that I want to see in my lifetime, and we're not gonna have time to watch them all. So it's hard when you have to pick and choose and how to spend your evenings. We're all adults and we all have things to do, so we value that time so much. That
a good movie usually crosses some kind of genre for me. Like you can't just categorize it as just blah blah blah.
Right.
We got two examples here. So Kenny said that he just watched Cruising, technically a crime thriller, but those slasher horror vibes are definitely present, almost like a giallo. I would call it that. I would say it's like an American giallo.
That makes me want to watch it a lot because that sounds very much up my alley.
And then Brother Dell follows up and he says he counts Bug as horror. So,
okay.
You got to watch it and make your own determination.
Yeah, people have different, it hits different. Like people will say Terminator is a slasher movie and a horror movie, where it definitely could be viewed that way. And I wouldn't say you're wrong by any means.
Yeah.
Like Jaws, people argue about whether Jaws is a horror movie,
or a thriller or whatever.
And I don't really think, honestly, at the end, or is like to a little differently, is Die Hard a Christmas movie and stuff like that, where it's like, can we just watch the movie?
Can we just enjoy it?
Does this really matter? It's a great movie. Let's just focus on that. I don't know.
I think I seen Killer Joe a long time ago, but like you were saying before, Mark, sometimes you see a movie so long ago, you can't remember details, so it's almost like you have to put it in your mind. You didn't see it and rewatch it.
Yeah, I would feel like it would be disingenuous for me to say that I've seen it. You know.
Killer Joe is wild. That poor chicken wing.
Wow. Out of context, that's very intriguing.
It's alluring, right? Let's talk about something else that was alluring.
Sounds good.
And this is a question I have on my mind because I mentioned I'm going to do that spooky season thing again.
Yeah.
But the thing I didn't mention is I have this crazy idea to do all 31 days.
Oh, really? So I was going through your playlist for the conversation, and I saw a string of them with the different thumbnails, like black and red. So tell me a little bit about that. Is it like, can you have returning guests on there? Because I would love. I would love to come back and do that.
Dude, consider it. Just give me a date and some titles you want to chat about.
Awesome.
But let me see if I could get to it. But what he's talking about. This is a brand new computer, so I have no bookmarks, no nothing on here. Boom, boom, boom. Playlist. So I think I just had it in my regular conversation one.
Okay. Yeah, that's where I found it. So is that different from the conversation? Is that like an offshoot?
No, it was still a conversation, but it was just the focus of horror movies or creepy movies.
People who love horror movies.
Yeah. So let me see if I could share this for a minute. Haven't done this in a while. Present, share screen, and we're going to share this. Boom. Okay. So I'm going to have to go back a little bit. But like you said, I had specific thumbnails for that reason. Here we go.
It caught my eye. I was like, oh, what is this?
That was the intention. So this group of conversations that I had was during last October. And I started off with Ryan from The Disconnected. Shout out local neighbor.
Awesome.
And basically I said, give me 5 titles that you want to talk about. Spooky, creepy, not necessarily horror movies, but just movies that you think of and you say, ooh, that was creepy. So examples that immediately come to my mind is something like Silence of the Lambs. Or I think Dell and I spoke. He brought up some of his favorites, and he included things that, you may know, you may not know. Do you know Blackula? We spoke about it. You know Scream, of course. That's his favorite. We spoke about it. Garrett was fun because he took me back. I had a chance to rewatch Phantasm, but then I had a chance to watch an 80s horror movie that I never heard of called Black Roses. That was fun.
I've never heard of that.
Oh my God. If you could get a copy of Black Roses, it's probably just on DVD, but there's an opening scene. It's like small town USA, and these guys roll into town, and they're rolling down Main Street in some freaking Lambos. You want to talk about, you want to talk about attention grabbing?
Those
they
80s
coming down
Lambos.
the street in the Lambos, man. Like straight out of Miami Vice Lambos.
Wow.
And it was like a great way to introduce a movie. But basically, it's this rock band, and it had a little bit of censorship to it because, small town America, the parents don't want the kids listening to this crazy rock music.
Okay, so it's like that, like Detroit Rock City kind of.
Yeah, but come to find out, their intentions were probably for good reason. Some other people I had on there, I had the Doubles, I had Basement Blues, I had Celeste. We had a great time.
That sounds. I would love to. I'll probably check out. I'll try to watch all of these, but Celeste really likes some deeper cuts, so I'll definitely check that one out.
and there was a theme running through their selection, so I really enjoyed that. Mel, she was a return guest. She came back on and we just spoke about her favorite final girls, which is kind of interesting, because favorite final girl, Mel.
That sounds fun.
And then Pops wrapped it up, I believe on Halloween or right before Halloween, and we just talked about some of his favorites. That's when I found out Psycho 2 is his favorite.
Oh, Psycho 2 is very good.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about an underrated movie. That would be one that I would say. More people should watch Psycho 2 if they haven't seen it.
True that.
A very worthy sequel.
So, I already have some people scheduled that are return guests. I definitely want to focus on getting some new people in.
Right. That's I wouldn't want to take a spot from like someone who hasn't been on before.
No. Not the case.
That,
so there are some people that I've held off because I know that they are specifically like horror people. So like Sledgehammer Horror, they've already signed on to do it. I'm actually going to incorporate it into Movie Swap. So I'm going to be on Dell's channel, but it's still going to be during spooky season because people are surprised that I've never seen Candyman. So we're going to talk about that. I know that's the usual reaction. That's the usual reaction.
Holy crap, dude. Well, you know what? You've got a really great experience waiting for you.
Yeah.
Whenever you watch it. So honestly, it's a beautiful thing when people say that they haven't seen certain classic movies, because you still have that experience to look forward to. Oh, and he's got the 4K. Is that still sealed?
Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna watch it and then we're gonna do a movie swap on it.
I will be watching that because I would love to see your reaction to that movie.
Yeah, but I've gotten some good titles. Most of them are rewatches, so things like Pet Cemetery or The Fog or Fly or whatever. But then some of them are things I never heard of, like Gunjiam Haunted Asylum.
I've heard of that. I think it's like a South Korean film or something.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch.
I've heard of that. I hear it's great.
And stuff that I haven't seen in a minute. So yeah, I'm still signing people up. I reached out to a few people. I have a few more people to reach out to. So I want to do a nice combination of faces, and people you
get some new people into.
Yeah. And I have a few in there where I'm swinging for the fences, and if I could get one or two of them, it might be a pleasant surprise for some people.
Cool. I hope you can get them.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So, just put that out there. Look for it all of October. Yeah, there you go. Johnny knows about Black Roses. It is fun. It is a fun movie. Psycho sequels need more love. I think when that 4 set comes out, that big box set, people are going to start paying attention to it.
That's a really cool looking set, man. I'm tempted to buy that, but I already own all 4 of them, so it's very hard for me to justify it, even though I think it's very reasonably priced.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I think it's $65. So
yeah,
it works out to almost like $12.50 a movie.
Yeah, which for those and in those like nice Arrow cases and stuff, yeah,
a little more than that. Jodo, I know you broke down and you pre-ordered it.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man.
Soon. Oh, my sweetheart is here. Sorry, I'm late. Hello, my darlings. What did I miss? We're just vibing, man. This dude and I, we're like right here.
We're having a lot of we're talking about a lot of different things, but it's all good.
Yeah, go back and catch a replay and get in from here. Candyman is top tier, Shining Exorcist level, but doesn't get damn. You putting it up there, Ken?
I would say Candyman is the best horror film of the 90s.
Wow.
Over Scream, over anything else you might care to mention, I think Candyman is that good.
I mean, it sparked sequels and a reboot or requel or whatever. So
yeah. I mean, I don't think any of them come close really to that first one, which is not surprising. Few rarely do.
I'm putting your name down one time.
Cool.
And we'll talk about it. We could talk about dates and definitely. If this is something for all of you, if you have anyone out there that I haven't had a conversation with, if you're not sure, just go through my playlist. You'll see everyone I had a conversation with on there. But if you have someone that you think would be a good guest for spooky season, I'm still reaching out. So definitely send me a message on Instagram. Tell me who you'd like to see. If you've been on before and you want to come back in, I'm cool. If you don't want to do live and you want to do pre-recorded, that's cool. I got a week that I'm going to be out of my house and away from this computer, so I need some pre-recorded episodes in there.
Okay, right on.
So it'll be a nice balance for sure.
Nice.
Another one. Candyman is top 5. You guys are killing me. I feel bad for never seeing it.
There's plenty. We all have those movies, man. Everybody has
yeah.
those classics where people are like, "What? You never seen that?" And it's not uncommon. So, but no, I think you'll really like it whenever you do watch it.
Hey, BFF. Good to see you. Yeah, man. So looking forward to that. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Let's get back into it. I got a couple more questions, and then we'll We'll probably land the plane soon so we could do the 5 takes. That's what I really want to get to.
Okay, sure.
I can't get past this one. And this is what reminded me with spooky season, because I'm going to have to rewatch this movie for part of it. Blair Witch Project.
Oh, yeah.
You gave it
a point of contention, right?
You gave it 4.5 stars.
Yes.
Not the common rating. So you look at it, 6.5 on IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, closer to your rank. It's like 86, 85 right now. So I'm not asking you to defend it, because art is art. You have your own opinion.
Sure.
But what was it about the movie that grabbed you? Without giving it away, because God forbid somebody who didn't see it yet.
So yeah, Blair Witch is it's in a genre that I don't typically really like, is the found footage genre. I think it's super easy to make a bad found footage movie, and it's probably very hard to make a good one. And I think Blair Witch just taps into that sort of it's the number one. The word is authenticity, and giving the feeling that what you are watching is in fact found footage. I know people thought it was real in the 90s, all that stuff, whatever. But even watching it in 2023, knowing that it's not real, but still having that that quality to it that makes it feel authentic. And Blair Witch has that. They were actually camping in the woods. A lot of people probably know this already. But the directors would be off in the woods, and the 3 actors would be filming in the woods, and it's improvised. The directors would leave them sort of guidelines and things that would have to happen throughout the course of each day. And so as long as they hit those kind of beats, everything else was the real article. They would progressively give them less food day by day, the directors. So they really are tired. They're really hungry. They're in the woods. And found footage movies, especially, nowadays they have this overproduced quality about them. They don't feel authentic. You can't really latch on to the premise. And Blair Witch has that in spades. So and the ambiguity of it too is something that I really like. Where you don't really see the witch, it's all implied. The movie is able to make a pile of rocks scary. Not many things can do that. Imagine you're camping in the woods and you open your tent and there's just a pile of rocks next to your tent. That says so much without saying anything at all.
Yeah.
Because it implies that someone was near you when you were sleeping, which is like our most vulnerable state. You're out in the woods alone. There's no one to help you. And it just does things like that. The whole movie just implies danger. It implies paranormal stuff. You never see it. It's all suggested. And that's the type of horror I love. And that's what I think works so well in Blair Witch.
The thing that I think a lot of people forget about, because it is the whole marketing thing that people remember. And I was there, so I will say,
right, yeah.
Young internet days, we could get away with that. Today, it would have to be a bigger conspiracy to pull it off. But it took you into the place, like you're saying, your mind is your biggest villain when it comes to reading a book or watching a movie, TV show. Your mind is the biggest killer.
It's a great way to put it.
Yeah, because it's everything that takes place in your mind. You justify it being real. You justify something is around the corner. That's why we've gotten to the point where the standard trope is building music, and then you turn and there's nothing there, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. And then you turn back from where you just came, and there's a monster, there's a killer.
It's
blah, blah,
telegraphed.
blah, blah,
You see it coming a mile away.
blah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and Blair Witch doesn't have like a score. There's no music to Blair Witch.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that makes it better or worse, but it's just it adds to the authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're watching, I think there's some found footage movies that have like, you know, when the jump scares happen, you have like that sting, you know, that musical, like that shrill note.
Mm-hmm.
And that
it makes it like a regular
breaks,
fictional movie.
Yeah, it breaks the immersion, you know, because that wouldn't be there in real life, obviously.
Yep.
So it does a ton of things right. I was actually reading online, and there was a comment from somebody that I thought was awesome. It was this kid, and he said, I had the best experience watching this movie because I found it on a blank VHS tape in my grandparents' house, didn't know what it was. He had never heard of the movie before.
Nice.
And then he puts it in the player and he just watches the movie without knowing what the movie is or anything like that. And I read that comment and I was like, that is amazing.
Wow.
Because I mean, imagine if you could watch a movie that way. It's like,
yeah,
you know, totally unbiased opinion. You go into it without any preconceived notions.
And I just got chills.
And you watch that movie, and at no point would you think, oh, this isn't real. Yeah. Because they don't ever do anything to break that believability in that movie. You know, they don't ever show anything that would be like, oh, well, there you go. You've shown the shark too many times, so now I know it's not real. Yeah. They don't ever do that. When I admire the restraint so much in that movie.
Another movie, much more stylized, but I wouldn't consider it found footage, but it's in that class, is Cloverfield.
Yeah.
And the one thing I watched it, I always do like sci-fi and fantasy during the month of July. So I was watching it with my son. He was a teenager at that point, and we watched it. And when it was over, I said, guess how long that movie is? He says, I don't know. I said, 94 minutes. Guess how long the videotape was? He's like, stop it. I was like, yeah, authenticity, baby. That's what you want. I mean, that was much more stylized.
That's a good point. But yeah. No, well, I mean.
But when you think about things like that, that's important to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Cloverfield, that is, if a monster were to attack New York, that is about what I would expect it to look like. Yeah.
Except now it'll be on a camera phone.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, for the time that it was made, it was true to life. That was a crazy movie when that was coming out. The marketing was so mysterious for that. Probably the last time that the Blair Witch marketing was ever kind of replicated, you know what I mean? Where it's hard to kind of tap into that thing where it's like, what is this movie? You know, like there was that teaser where it's just like the head of the Statue of Liberty being thrown down the street. Yep. And then they just gave you a date. They didn't even give you the title of the movie.
Nope. I was watching a Twitter post, and it was basically the justification of it was that teaser trailers are not what they used to be. Oh, and they just showed a whole bunch of old teaser trailers that was in there. The behind the scenes with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, talking about freaking The Exorcist, the teaser trailer for that. There were so many movies that did teasing so well. Independence Day, that was another one. Yeah. I mean, when we saw the White House being blown up, we were like, I don't know what this movie is, but I got to be there day one. So.
That shot of the White House exploding is like one of the most famous, most recognizable shots from movies in history. And that is that in the teaser? I haven't seen this teaser. Yes, that's incredible.
I think I saved it. If I find it, I'll send it to you.
Okay, cool.
So talking about Blair Witch, some comments here. Caprice agrees with your rating.
Oh, thanks.
Ken
listen, it's not going to be for everybody, you know. But there's nothing wrong with that. I like it for what it is, and that's just kind of where I land with it, you know.
Yeah. Jodo said you summed it up perfectly. Blair Witch is great even today, even if you know it's just a movie. Watch it for the first time a few years ago, and it holds up. All right, there you go.
Yeah. And there is the issue of the shaky cam, and some people don't like that.
Yeah, that was the move at the time, though.
Cloverfield. Well, it's like you can't have found footage without some level of shaky cam. You know, I mean, they don't have like a dolly or like a crane or anything like that in the woods. Right. So I mean, it's going to be a little shaky, and it either bothers you or it doesn't, and it's a shame if it bothers you because then you can't enjoy the movie. But nothing
Yeah.
you can really do about it.
What's up, Ed? 2016 film, also really good, fantastic 1-2 punch double. Yeah, that would be a nice double feature.
I don't enjoy the 2016 one as much, but I think they set a high bar, and to think that they could sort of measure up is a bit unfair.
I take them differently.
Yeah,
You know, there's different elements to it, different perspectives.
but the thing is, I mean, with that 2016, they kind of do all the things that I said that they
Just
don't
it.
do.
Yeah.
You know, they show the witch or whatever that. I know they said it's not actually the witch, but for all
Yeah.
intents and purposes, it's probably it could just be the witch.
Mhm.
And they delve into more of like, you know, where in the first movie it's sort of implied that they're going in circles and like they're in like a time loop. The 2016 one is like, okay, yeah, you're definitely in a time loop. You know, I saw you 3 months ago, but for you it was like a day.
Yeah.
Which is all interesting ideas, but I think they got a little too lost in the sauce with that 2016 film.
Yeah.
Where, yeah, they just kind of lost, to me, what makes that first movie so good.
Two good back-to-back comments here. There was a scene in Blur Witch that literally kept me up at night, gave me the vapors, if you will.
Yeah,
I think
man.
I know which scene you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then Ken said, I thought it had a stupid ending when I was a kid. As an adult, it scares the yeah, the movie.
That's a good way to put it, Ken. You know, I feel like when we get older, we appreciate the subtleties a little bit more.
Oh yeah. And
You
things get real to you. Especially we talk about this all the time. You watch something as a kid, a teenager, whatever, then you watch it as an adult. Then you watch it again when you reach another stage of life, whether you're a spouse or you're a parent. It hits you differently.
It can affect you differently, yeah.
Don't get me started on Finding Nemo.
Oh, my goodness.
Don't get me started on The Strangers. That's the kind of horror movie that kills me because I just think, what would I do if that was my fiance or my wife or whatever the case may be?
That's a movie that the horror comes from like real experiences, things that could actually happen.
Yep.
Which can hit harder than some other horror movies.
All right. One more question, then we'll do the 5 takes. So you mentioned it before, your series, Sell It or Shelve It.
Mm-hmm.
What are some titles we can look forward to?
Oh, man, that's tough. Probably, I think of some big movies that I haven't seen, but I do own, would be like Clockwork Orange is on there. That's one that I know is going to be super wild and weird, and I've heard a bit about it. So, but ultimately, I don't know what to expect with that one.
Go in empty-headed and just enjoy a little bit of ultra violence.
So we got that coming up probably at some point.
The thing is, so far, each movie that I've done, I've only done 3 episodes, but each movie that I've seen, I've decided to keep. And so I want to kind of maybe watch one that I think might suck, and then just like kind of, you know, make a video about why it's bad. But then I don't know.
You want the balance.
Yeah, I don't. But then it's like, is it fun to just kind of dunk on a movie like, you know, that I
thought
that I knew was going to be bad going in? I don't know.
But you know, the first question would be like, so why'd you buy it?
Yeah, I'll tell you that right now. It's because when I first started collecting seriously in 2018, I was so influenced by all the Instagram pages that I followed who all had like super sick collections. And I bought a ton of movies that nowadays I would never buy because I just wanted to have a large collection. And you realize pretty quickly after a little while of doing that that's not really sustainable. And it's also not fun, you know?
Yeah.
So nowadays I'm a lot more selective about what I purchase. But and that's kind of that was sort of the genesis of the series was, how can I start to get rid of some of these movies that I don't really need anymore, you know?
I think I'm gonna keep this one.
That one definitely. I had a feeling I would keep that one though.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one I'm a little more spontaneous with. I have a small stack of movies that I keep like under my futon over there where they're kind of in limbo. They could go back on the shelf, they could go to Goodwill. I don't know yet. So
yeah. One more comment, then I'll show you one thing. We'll get to the 5 takes. So
all right.
Going back to Cloverfield, Jordo said he had to leave the theater because he got bad motion sickness, and I got sick on the bathroom floor. Dude,
that's a shame, That
Never got to
sucks.
finish that movie. It's fun, man. It's a fun ride, even if you don't want to like
Yeah,
buy the 4K steel book or whatever. Just
yeah.
grab the Blu-ray for like $5 or whatever and
I don't know
enjoy
if it
it.
would help, but maybe take like some Dramamine beforehand.
Could be,
That could help.
could be.
So
And I wanted to show you this since we were talking about it before. This is Jay-Z's Fade to Black.
oh, okay.
The DVD. It's a Paramount thing, so good old widescreen with the tabs on the side. So it's fun. It was I think this was when him and Beyonce were dating. So,
Oh, so they weren't even married yet?
nah.
That's cool.
All
I'll
right.
definitely have to check that out if it's streaming somewhere. I love a good documentary. So
Yeah, I love music documentaries especially
Mhm.
too. All right, you ready to do the 5 takes?
let's do it.
All right, man. We're gonna start as we always do with number 1. Name the film that made you fall in love with the movies.
So for me, this one's pretty easy. It's the Star Wars trilogy. These are not my original childhood tapes. I found these at a yard sale probably 4 or 5 years ago, but this was the same set that I had. And my mom will tell you, when I was young, I used to, instead of going to sleep, this is very telling about me, but instead of going to sleep, I would wake up in the middle of the night and not wanting to go back to sleep. I guess I was scared of the dark or something. I would just make my way out to the living room and put these on, and just thinking that's okay. My mom would come out. She's like, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be in sleep." So I'm just like, "Oh, I'm just watching movies. What's the problem?" Like that's how much I loved these. I wore these out if I was going on a sleepover to like my grandpa's house. These are coming with me. Yeah, no, it's Star Wars all day. And I don't know if I could pick a certain one because I think I just watched them all on repeat. So
You see the pace, right?
yeah.
I mean, that's my generation. I grew up on that. So
Oh, it's great. It's and I was born in 94 and then Phantom Menace was 99. So there was a small window in my life where this was all Star Wars was. And then I got into the prequels when they came out and I liked them. You become an adult, you become a little more critical and they are what they are. I have a special place for them. But for me, this was always my introduction. And this is Star Wars at its purest.
Hi, Miss Caveman. We are getting ready to land the plane. We're doing the 5 takes, so you're coming in a good spot. All right. Number 2. Name 5 of your favorite films.
This was probably the hardest one for me because I wanted to kind of touch on a wide array. Like I didn't want to just give you 5 horror films or 5, comedies or anything like that. So I tried to diversify it a little bit. First one's Halloween. And this is the movie I probably own
the most copies of.
Some people probably have me beat, but I know there's a ton more. I don't have a DVD or anything like that, but this is the horror movie for me. This is the best horror movie of all time for me. I don't need to tell you how good Halloween is. You guys already know. So
No,
Halloween.
we know.
I love ambiguity. I think that's what it comes back to. I love that, and Halloween has that. You don't know why he's doing it. You don't know what his deal is.
He doesn't even have a name. They don't. Even at the end of the movie, they don't know if it's truly Michael. If you think about it,
that's the beauty of it, right? I never really thought about that, but it's like when it starts out, you don't see him before he puts the mask on, or after. So it could be him. It could not be him. It's truly like all totally left up to the imagination.
Yeah, and in the credits, he's credited as The Shape,
which is such a cool name too. Like it's like I think of like you're seeing like a shape in the darkness that could resemble a human, but you're not sure if it is or not.
And that's what made those scenes like where he was hiding in the shadows, and it's a lot easier to spot in 4K than it was on VHS. But that's what makes it extra fun.
That shot of him, like when Tommy Doyle's looking out the window and you see him,
the reflection
silhouetted against the house, and it's like the wide shot of him from across the street just standing in front of the house. I mean, it's like so terrifying without being like blood and guts or anything like that. It's like the subtleties is where the horror comes from for me.
Yep. What else you got?
Oh yeah, so sorry. And then we got The Mummy.
Oh,
I
nice
love
one.
this movie.
It's so fun.
I wouldn't even call this a guilty pleasure. I think this is a genuinely great film.
Great adventure film.
You know, it sort of lives in that Indiana Jones kind of space where it's like perhaps a spiritual successor. Yeah, The Mummy's great. Rachel Weisz might be the most attractive woman in the world at the time this movie was shot. She still looks great, obviously.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't argue that.
just great. Those two are great. And then this movie is
Come on.
so good.
Come on.
Yeah?
Yeah, man.
You're a fan?
Come on. One, couple of reasons. One,
Yeah, hit me.
Scorsese.
All
I'm
day.
a big Uncle Marty fan.
Yes.
Two, I grew up watching The Hustler on like broadcast television. I had the VHS when, it came out. It was like that black and white movie that I would just throw on and watch, just like I would watch episodes of The Honeymooners. And then when I was older, I would watch Psycho. It's so complex.
Yeah.
And so like,
It's not even about the pool so much.
no,
really.
the pool is just like, it's kind of like a backdrop.
Yeah.
And then
for
Color
sure.
of Money just raises the stakes.
I mean,
even
this
more.
movie, we all have those movies that are like so endlessly rewatchable to where like if you come in it like halfway through, you're gonna watch the whole thing.
Mhm.
This is that movie for me. And this movie represents sort of the cross section of two of my favorite hobbies because I actually play pool a lot.
Oh, okay.
I love pool. It's like my favorite game ever. My two
Nice.
passions is movies and pool. So
Didn't know that.
I'm pretty decent at it too. So for me, this represents just like the juxtaposition of my two favorite things in the world, and this is just a great movie.
And there's a mystery in it too, because you're still not sure about Paul Newman's relationship with the lady.
Yeah,
You don't know what happens after that last line.
watching them back to back is really cool.
Mhm. The montages are great.
Yeah, there's a line where Paul Newman says, "I got the screws put to me before I really got started," which is such a cool callback to that first movie.
Yeah.
And the idea, I love when you make a sequel to a movie like 30 years later.
Like
And
Maverick.
Yes, exactly, and it actually works. It's a rare thing, but when you can do it and it works, it's really cool because you get to see Paul Newman at multiple stages of his life.
Yeah. And we were doing a stream on Mega Mike's channel.
Yeah.
We don't do anything on Magic Mike's channel for YouTube. But yeah, we were talking about sequels that are better than the original. And I don't know who brought that out. I want to say it was Ben from Hard Copy Blues, but whoever it was, shout out to you. Great, awesome pick. Because it's true. It is one of those movies that is better. It is like Empire being better than Star Wars. It is.
Yes.
Yeah, it is Khan being better than the motion picture.
Yeah.
It is better than The Hustler. It takes
which
everything
is
that was
already a
good
high
from
bar.
that. Yeah, it takes everything great from The Hustler and just ups the ante. I love that.
It's so good. I mean, I love it. And then we talked about it a little bit already, but Before trilogy, specifically the first one, Before Sunrise, it's the best.
Yep.
We talked already about this one and why I like those kinds of movies, so we'll keep it going. And then my last one.
Good call.
I don't know who that is.
He was the lead of this band called The Band. Their last performance was captured once again by Scorsese. They must be personal friends or were personal friends. He just passed away.
That makes sense.
So their last performance as a band was captured for the music documentary called The Last Waltz.
Oh, that's what that is?
Yeah.
I'm aware of The Last Waltz. I didn't know that's what it was about, though.
Yeah. Great sounding. If James 20th and 21st is still in here, I know he loves that documentary, so he could talk about it too. But yeah, I didn't know he did the score for Color of Money. That's a great score too.
Awesome.
Sorry about that. I just had to throw that out.
No, that's good information to have. And then my last one, I wanted to get a comedy that I really like, and it's Can't Hardly Wait.
Not enough people talk about that.
This is such a great movie. Probably something I shouldn't have been watching at the age that I was watching it. A lot of the jokes went over my head, but it's so good, man. I love how everyone's at the party and they're like all having these different sort of hijinks, and they kind of cross over. You know, like they're all interacting with each other, and it's like you're following different people. I think it's legitimately a great movie, and it's actually really funny too. Great cast, you know, super 90s. You got Seth Green here from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is my favorite show of all time.
Oh my gosh, you're another one. You, Terrell, the doubles, all
Tim.
you need to get Tim. You all need to get together and just do like a Buffy.
We actually did.
You need to do more.
Me, Tim, and the doubles did a stream. It was the first stream I ever did before I even made my channel. I just was coming from Instagram at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But Tim put out like a call, like, I'm going to do a Buffy stream. Is anybody interested in coming on? And I was like, kind of nervous. I was a little hesitant because I hadn't done anything like that. But it was like, I can talk Buffy. Like, I know I can talk Buffy. So, but that's a tangent. Can't hardly wait. I mean, you can't beat it, man. This is just a funny ass movie. It's endlessly rewatchable. That is a quality that these things all share, I think, is I could come into any one of these at any time and still watch it and be entertained. So
this is usually everyone's hardest question, but number 3, name a popular or classic movie that everybody loves but you can't stand.
All right, so I actually have 2 for this because I didn't feel super strongly about either one, so I'm going to throw both at you. And this was one I had trouble thinking of. I actually had to like go on Letterboxd and sort by the ones that I have ranked lower and then looking to see. But so the first one is Creepshow 2.
Really?
I don't really like Creepshow 2 almost at all.
Wow.
And I love the first one.
Yeah, of course. Classic.
I think Creepshow 2 is just strictly inferior in every way. There's less segments. I think the segments themselves are worse in quality. I mean, Old Chief Woodenhead is just, it's not good. I don't think that's like a good sketch. I mean, some people, I think Ken really loves Creepshow.
I'm just gonna let it linger. What did you say? Keep saying, man. I mean,
look, I'm gonna.
This is your opinion.
Unfiltered.
Yeah.
No, I watched it one time and it was just, I was like, what do people like about this? People love the raft and people praise the raft, and that is the best sketch or skit or whatever segment, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But again, it's like I need like 2 or 3 more of these to kind of bring this whole thing to elevate this whole thing, and this is just not good enough.
Are you a fan of like horror anthologies like that, or
them.
like Trick or Treat or whatever?
Yeah, I love them. Because I love getting it's like you're watching 4 movies in one. You're watching a bunch of short films essentially. Yeah. So you really get your bang for your buck. I don't like Creepshow 2. I know that's going to sting some people.
You know what? It's all good. Let them live with it.
Can't get into it. And then the next one is Ghostbusters Afterlife. I feel like so many people love Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah.
And for me, it was just like the total antithesis of what makes the first Ghostbusters so good. And yeah, I just can't. I do not like that movie. I feel like it was sort of emotionally manipulative to have Harold Ramis come back as like a ghost and to show him as much as they did. Like, I feel like they could have done that a little better, a little more tastefully, but like,
yeah.
He's like in the action in the end, and he doesn't have any speaking lines, but I don't know. The whole thing just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Then especially like how you could apply that to like, think about 20 years from now, all the dead people they're going to be resurrecting for the sake of their legacy horror movie or whatever movie.
I really hope this whole thing with SAG-AFTRA works out in favor of the actors so that we don't have people's likeness being used without their permission, because I don't know, do you watch Black Mirror? Did you see the Joan is Awful?
I've seen episode? A lot of early Black Mirror. I haven't seen any of the newer stuff.
if you get a chance, I mean, they're basically anthologies. You could watch them out of order. But the newest season, the first episode is called Joan is Awful. Just watch that, and that should be like a warning shot.
Yeah,
I think my dogs need to go outside or something. They're acting crazy up there.
We'll wrap it up here.
Yeah, I accidentally called Mega Mike Magic Mike and he showed up. It's like Beetlejuice or something.
We can call him Magic Mike.
I think that's for Amazing Anna, not for me.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Let's flip that and go to number 4 and name a critically hated movie that you love.
This one was super easy for me because I was rewatching all the Rocky movies leading up to Creed 3, and I think Rocky 5 is a good movie. And people need to they need to rewatch it because I feel like a lot of these people have not seen it since 95 or whenever it came out. Okay, but it's actually very good. I'll go into a little bit here because I know you're trying to get at it. You have your dogs and stuff. And I think the biggest flaw is that it's following up Rocky 4, which is the fan favorite, right?
Yeah.
But the thing people get hung up on is the fact that the way Paulie loses all their money has no basis in legality. Like, it makes no sense the way that he loses the money. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
I knew this was coming.
Thank you. So, Rocky, I have a whole very long review of this on my Letterboxd. Go check it out if you like. But basically, Mickey dies. Rocky is at a stage where he is sort of embracing the Mickey aspect that he later goes on to do in Rocky Balboa and the Creed movies, especially, where he becomes. But this is where that journey begins. He's returned to street level, which is where he works best. That's where he started, on the streets of Philadelphia. And he inherits the gym from Mickey. What's that?
Born and raised.
Yes, exactly. So he inherits the gym from Mickey. He's having the CTE, the brain stuff, which is a realistic thing, right? The fact that they don't shy away from that and they portray it, Rocky would have brain damage at this point in his career. Yeah. It's not fun, but it's the reality. So they don't shy away from that, and they depict it well. He can't fight. So he embraces the mentor role, and he trains Tommy Gunn, and he sort of, there's a flashback where he's talking to Mickey in the gym, and Mickey's giving this really emotional speech about how when he met Rocky, he was ready to throw in the towel. He was old. He didn't have much to live for. He didn't have a purpose. Then he meets Rocky. Rocky gives him a purpose. And Rocky at this stage feels like his purpose now is to train Tommy Gunn. Obviously, that doesn't work out, but that's why he does it. And so there's just a lot of things that thematically and character-wise really work in Rocky V. And people need to give it its respect because it's actually a really good movie, directed by John G. Avildsen from The Karate Kid. I think he did the first one and the fifth one. And so, yeah, I feel very strongly about Rocky V. I think people need to give it its respect. So
I'm going to do something very unorthodox. I'm going to leave you for a second. I'm going to ask you to scroll up through the comments. Feel free to reply to them. I'll be right back.
Go ahead, man. Take your time. Let's see what some people are saying here. Miss Caveman loves Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, I do too. Angel as well. Great show. Great spinoff. My mom's friend's son created some of the costumes for Angel. That is really cool. That's awesome. I wonder if she got to meet some of the cast members. That's super cool. I love Angel as well as Buffy. I go back and forth on whether I like Angel or Buffy more. So Ghostbusters Afterlife works for What's Johnny Watching? See, I wouldn't begrudge anyone if they really liked seeing Harold Ramis back. I'm sure that was I'm sure that was very cathartic for a lot of people, but for me, I don't know. I feel like we could have done without it. Mike, I'm glad you agree with me that Rocky V is good because I feel like not a lot of people do. Yeah, it needs more respect. I think a lot of people haven't seen it since it came out or something, and they have this idea in their head that like my mom told me all the time when I was young, Rocky V's bad, Rocky V's bad, and I just believed her. And then I watched it as an adult, and I'm like, oh, my mom actually doesn't know what she's talking about because this movie's great. Yeah, Jordo, I agree, man. I mean, I agree that movie is the reason this question, the conversation exists. It's great because maybe, hopefully, anyway, if you liked what I had to say about it, maybe you'll rewatch it and it'll recontextualize your thoughts on it. Mike, I'll probably talk a little bit about what I have coming up at the end here. Short answer is I really don't know yet. Oh, good, you're back. I was floundering there. No, I was just reading some of the comments. There are some good comments.
It's not as easy as people think. Sometimes.
No, I give you all the credit in the world. You and everyone else who does things like this.
Shout out. That's all I gotta say. Shout out to everybody.
I give you your full props.
Oh, look at that. You did great.
Thanks,
You
dude.
did great. And I was right. They did need to go out. Their bladders were busting.
I gotcha. I have 2 dogs as well, so
Yeah, I got little Yorkie mixes and not big bladders. That's all I gotta say.
I hear you, man.
I do want to thank everyone for hanging out and staying in the chat. Whoever's still here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's land this plane with this question. So you've been through the playlist. You've seen who I've had on before. Who would you like to see me have a conversation with on this channel?
All right, so I don't believe I saw their name, so it's possible they may have already been on there and I missed it, but I think Side Hustle Cinema would be a great conversation. Have you had him on before?
We were scheduled to do it and we had to reschedule, and that hasn't happened yet. So
Okay.
yes, I would love to have Side Hustle. I would like to have him during spooky season because
That would be
the
cool.
man knows his horror. So
Yes.
I will give him props to that, and I want him to come back on. Dude, you're welcome. Please come back on. Give me
Yeah.
a date. Let's make it happen.
No, Side Hustle's the man. He watches a good amount of my videos, I think, and he left me a really great comment on my the video that I'm most proud of. And if I could plug one thing on this, it would be the summer camp slashers video that I made. That to me is the best thing I've made, and it's the type of videos that I want to make more of. I just don't have the time right now in the summer. I work at a restaurant on the water. It's a seafood place. Very busy right now.
Say
So,
less.
I'm eagerly awaiting fall when I can make more stuff like that. But anyway, Side Hustle left me a really great comment on there. And I've done some streams with him in the past. He's a really cool dude. So
Yeah. Even if you don't want to, this was since like end of last year, going into the beginning of this year, we've been trying to hook up. But because I'll tell you the funny story. So I was doing I believe it was an open conversation or something like that. And he came on and he did a question. It was right around when Violent Night came out. And he comes on and he has a sledgehammer in his hand. And he gives his question, then he leans in and he says, he's wearing a Santa hat too. I forgot to mention that. So he leans in and he's like, KB, you haven't had Side Hustle Cinema on. And that makes you very naughty. You don't want to be naughty, do you?
no, you don't.
Holding a sledgehammer? No, I don't.
No.
But we definitely need to make that happen. So
Cool.
if you're watching this, or if somebody could just forward the word, tell him I would love to have him on during spooky season, because I know he knows his horror, and I think he'll come up with some good spooky and creepy titles to go through. So yeah, that would definitely be fun.
Hopefully this gets the ball rolling on that.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Awesome. That's how I wound up here. I think Chris, Bearded Film Guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
I love recommendations. It keeps the ball rolling. And
I think it's a really cool thing that you do, where you actually have people that it's very organically, where it's like we're all kind of here rooting for each other. It's a cool thing.
And the thing is, sometimes if it's somebody I don't know, I'm like, hey, can you put in a good word?
Yeah, you get to meet a new friend. So
yes,
that's awesome.
And talking about a new friend, I want to thank you, sir, for coming on.
Thank you very much.
This was fun. I knew it would be. That's why when we were supposed to get it, I was like, oh man, work.
Yeah, dude, you're telling me. I've been looking forward to this because I had a feeling as well, because based on the conversations I've seen and the stuff that we both like, I figured we would have a good one. So
yeah. So
awesome.
Definitely want to do this. And yes, we could do it again in October if you want to come back on. We could pick a few titles. I know you'll have some gems in there, so I'm looking forward to the list of 5 that you're going to send me, and we'll schedule the date, and we'll definitely make it happen. So
yeah, pencil me in. I would love to.
I already got you down, bro.
Awesome, man.
Once again, everyone in the chat, want to thank you for joining us tonight. You're a part of the conversation, so I'm always grateful for anyone who's hanging out and adding comments, giving questions, because I have a whole bunch of questions I didn't even get to, but it doesn't matter, because your questions and your comments were more in flow than my questions were. We don't have to get through the questions. We just have to have a great conversation, and we did that tonight. So
awesome.
I want to thank everyone again. And as I always say, go watch a movie. Have a good night, everyone.